And so I guess I'm wrong. He debunked me. Myself, Jeff Nippard, Mike Israetel, all of us, we're clueless. We have no idea how to train. And so this guy who also says you shouldn't do cardio because it's going to take years off your life, that perhaps you'll die at 57 if you run marathons, I think we should all listen to him. Coach Greg, and in today's video, apparently I got it wrong again. Apparently I'm wrong about everything. I mean, Jay Vincent says I am. In his last video, he pointed out that if you do cardio, you're a jogger, you're probably going to die at age 57. That cardio is bad, that you shouldn't do it. And in today's video, he says I'm wrong yet again. That doing one set to failure is optimal for no matter who you are. Whether you're a beginner, intermediate, or advanced Mr. Olympia competitor, that one set, well, that's all you need. And so was I wrong about cardio? That everyone doing cardio is an idiot or a moron? That they're all gonna die at 57? Well, I certainly hope not. But am I wrong about one set? Is this a new breakthrough that we all need to know? Should all competitors now start doing only one set to failure? That's the key to muscle growth? Well, stay tuned and find out.
So Greg Doucette says one set to failure training is too good to be true. He's wrong, and I'm going to prove it.
Wow, flashing credential on the screen, published author. He's an expert. This guy, he knows more than all of us. I mean, what would Jeff Nippard know? I mean, he just recently posted a video on minimalist training, showed how one set to failure could provide about 64% of the results. Certainly not optimal, but okay if you don't have a lot of time. But I guess Jeff Nippard must be wrong. He must not have done the proper research. And certainly Coach Greg, with a master's degree in kinesiology, studied his entire life, what in the heck would he know? And so apparently it's not that doing more than one set is bad. It's just that you don't need to do it if you train that one set hard enough. Problem is, most people just don't train hard enough. I certainly think that I train hard enough. I trained harder than last time. Most of my sets are done to failure and beyond, and most of the research, including that done by Mike Israetel, says that doing 1 to 3 reps from failure, that's all you need to stimulate muscle growth. But I guess we're all wrong. I mean, Jay Vincent says so.
As Dr. Elwood Henneman, a neurobiologist from the 1950s, discovered and explains the intensity of muscular contraction.
I mean, after all, a biologist from the 1950s said so, and so it's got to be true. Don't you just love it when people start quoting research from the 1950s, 1960s to back up what they're saying today? If you can't quote a research study from at least 2000 and beyond, do you really think that that's the optimal research? 1951, this guy said this. Wow, amazing. What a breakthrough.
Based on the neuroscience that we've known since the late 1930s, this is how you recruit and stimulate all the muscle.
And after all, it was discovered in the 1930s. We've known this. You only need to do one set training to complete failure, and that's all you need, no matter who you are, no matter how many years of experience you have. That's all you need. And so what he's saying is I got it all wrong. The more advanced you are, the fewer sets you have to do because we can't recover from it. And so if you look at the largest bodybuilders in the world, those with the greatest amount of experience, those are the guys that actually should train the least. I mean, if this were actually true with the best bodybuilders in the world, guys like Big Ramy, Nick Walker, perhaps Chris Bumstead, would they get even larger if they reduced their volume? I'm watching Chris Bumstead train almost every set to failure and beyond, and he does multiple sets. And so if he just did one set of shoulders, one set of chest, would he in fact get bigger? I don't think so. And so the guy shows and says, hey, if Greg did a set like this, shows a guy doing one forced rep at the end, working harder than last time, that's all you need. Almost every set I do looks way harder than that. Way harder. And if I only did one set, I certainly wouldn't have the muscle I have today. A lot of times people are saying, no way is he only on 140 milligrams a week. Look at the size of the guy. He's 47 years old. Must be cheating. Must be using lots of test trend, you name it. No, haven't done a cycle over 3 years. And so is it possible that if I did everything wrong, that I only did one set, I'd get that much better? Could I in fact make it to the Mr. Olympia if I cut down my volume to just one set? Maybe that's a secret. The reason I never made the Olympia, it's because I've been doing too many sets.
You look at a set like what Greg Doucette just did, it probably lasts about 10, 15 seconds. You're not really generating much muscular stress, metabolic stress, tension.
Meanwhile, everyone knows I promote time under tension more than almost anyone. That the majority of my sets are 10, 15 reps or more. That I train to failure and beyond almost all the time. And so to say, oh, Greg, he only does sets of 10 to 15 seconds, have they ever actually watched me work out?
But if you do a set like this,
You're trying to impress me by going, what are you trying to give birth? What's going on here?
It doesn't make sense to do a set, take a break, do a set, take a break. These are inexplicable breaks in between loading the muscle and fatiguing it.
And so he's saying it doesn't make sense to do a set and then take a break and then to do another set. Well, when you take a break, your ATP, adenosine triphosphate, it gets reduced. By resting 1 to 4 minutes, you then replenish most of that and you can perform another set with a heavy weight. And by doing multiple sets, more volume with greater intensity, as in you progressive overload, training harder than last time, that is how you build muscle. But no, I'm wrong. I don't know anything. I mean, what's next? When you do cardio, you should only train for 2 minutes, that you can get all the benefits from doing 2 minutes all out. No one should train longer than 2 minutes. Where do you draw a line? Perhaps all those riders in the Tour de France training 20 plus hours a week, maybe if they just hired this guy and said, hey, do one sprint up the hill, that is all you need, because why would you do more than one set?
This is where people get really confused, and it's really because the way they traditionally approach exercise. They approach exercise as, let's go see how many exercises we can mindlessly tolerate.
That's not what I'm preaching. I'm not saying to go out and do a bunch of junk volume. And notice I said when you start, one set to failure is too much. When you're a beginner, you have to keep some reps in reserve, some reps in the tank. Don't push yourself to failure. Over time, you can then train harder than last time, approaching failure. Once you get out of the beginner stage and you're an intermediate lifter, you can start doing more sets. You can train harder. And once you then approach advanced levels, once your body is used to all this, you then have to do multiple sets training past failure. Progressive overload. One set, go heavier next time. Add an extra rep. Better mind-muscle connection.
Here, Greg defines progressive overload incorrectly.
I'm not explaining progressive overload incorrectly. Progressive overload is when you train harder than last time, either more intensely, closer to failure, by doing the reps slower, by pausing the weight. It's training harder. If it becomes harder, you provide a greater stimulus for muscle growth. That is progressive overload.
That is when you progressively overload. You add a small amount of resistance to stay within your target rep range.
Or you perform the exercise slower. You could do forced reps, partial reps. You could do a drop set. You could do rest, pause. You don't just say, this is progressive overload. It's when you can do a set of 8 to 12 reps, and then once you can get 12, you then add weight. No, you could do it slower. You could have greater mind-muscle connection. There's a host of ways to make it harder than last time without arbitrarily saying, hey, once you get 12, you add more weight. And so why is he saying I'm explaining it wrong when he's the one being so specific? 8 to 12 reps. Once you get to 12, add the weight and then go from there. Doesn't have to work like that whatsoever.
Greg doesn't understand progressive overload.
Yeah, I guess I just don't understand. It's just not adding weights randomly, reps, weights. I don't understand it. Well, this clueless guy, he doesn't know what he's talking about.
He actually just debunked himself. He said, if you're not seeing gains and you're going 5 reps from failure, then maybe go 4 reps to failure.
What kind of logic is he making? I'm saying, hey, if you're training 5 reps from failure and you're not making gains, try training harder. Try 4 reps from failure. Then try 3. There's multiple ways to train harder than last time. Yes, you can do one set and do it harder, but you can also do more volume. If you do one set, 3 reps from failure versus 3 sets, 3 reps from failure, clearly the 3 sets is a harder workout. You could do one set, and rather than stopping 3 reps shy of failure, you could go to failure, but you can't say that's the only way to train harder than last time.
All of my clients continue to improve in strength and body composition with just one set per exercise.
All of them during 20,000 sessions, every single client always has gotten stronger using his method. Does that sound even remotely plausible? That no one has ever not gotten better? That every single client, no matter what circumstance they're in, they've always gotten better. Not one client's ever gotten sick, perhaps gotten injured, nothing ever. Really, 100% success rate. Find that hard to believe.
In fact, every time I tried to increase and do more than one set, they would regress.
Really? Every single time any of his clients tried to do 2 sets, they all got worse. They regressed, all of them. Does that sound possible? No, it does not.
Plus, there's a plethora of research that shows the effectiveness of one set versus 3 sets performed to failure, and they're equally effective.
And when you quote research, what you need to do is actually understand all the research. If you've got a bunch of beginners and they try doing 1 set to failure versus 3, and you say, hey, 3 sets wasn't better than 1, well, that might be for a beginner that doesn't know how to train. But what about an IFBB pro? What about someone with 10 years experience? You can't apply research to beginners, novice, intermediate lifters, to those who are more advanced.
By doing additional sets as you get more advanced is simply going to waste your time, and in many cases, it's just going to overtrain you. I think Greg Doucette is probably completely unaware of this research.
Imagine he says Greg Doucette is completely unaware of this research. Maybe you should start reading. Really, why don't you watch Jeff Nippard's most recent video, have a look at the current research and see. You think Jeff Nippard just making it all up, just telling you what you want to hear, not what you need to hear? Really?
Greg is using the appeal to authority fallacy since he has a master's in kinesiology.
How am I using the appeal to authority when he's doing the exact same thing? I said, if you have 1 conversation with Dorian Yates, it's not going to be as good as if you had 100 conversations with Dorian Yates. Do you really think 1 conversation with Dorian is better than a lifetime of knowledge? Of course not. But if you had 100 conversations and you learned everything from them, you could really pick their brain, then yeah, you can learn a lot. And so I'm saying 1 conversation, that is not enough. That would be like watching 1 YouTube video that I presented and saying, oh, I learned more from Greg in 1 video than my entire life of research. No, but perhaps watch 100 of my videos, maybe 1,000, and then maybe you will.
Claiming that he knows better, that this can't possibly be true because he studied. Believe it or not, I've had plenty of clients and students who also studied exercise.
And how many of them had the highest GPA and had a master's? I hadn't just studied it in college. I was a Dean's List scholar every single year, had the highest average when I graduated, and had my master's. And so you can't just compare me to someone that studied a little bit. You think I just studied a little bit? I've done this my entire life. I literally have over 2,000 YouTube videos. You think I just stop researching and haven't learned anything since then?
Completely unaware of these basic concepts. Just because you paid a college to teach you utter nonsense doesn't mean you actually know what you're talking about.
And so yeah, just because you pay to go to college doesn't mean you learn anything. But if you get 95 plus on most of your exams, you probably learn a lot. Now, didn't you? And so he has 7 years of research proving that 1 set to failure, that's all you need. That's all you should do. And he has over 20,000 hours of this. And so he says, I'm doing an appeal to authority, but what is he doing with that information?
And will produce the same, if not better results than all this other traditional volume training with 0 chances of injury.
Oh, and it's got a 0% chance of injury. 0. No one's ever been injured in 20,000 hours of training. And so it's impossible to get injured if you're doing 1 set to failure. Do I even need to go on with this video at this point? Does anyone believe that? He actually thinks there's a 0% chance of injury? You can get injured warming up with no weight on the bar. You could get hurt walking to the gym from your car. And so you can't just say, oh, my way of training, it's the best. No one else makes sense because research in the 1930s, 1950s proves otherwise.
So not only are these individuals going to maximize and optimize their muscle growth, strength, and improve all factors of functional ability, they're also going to do so without getting injured.
And so what does this sound like? Sounds to me like he's telling you what you want to hear, not what you need to hear. He started off by saying, hey, cardio is bad. No one should do cardio. It's bad. It's going to kill you early. That was enough for me to make a video saying, this is moronic. No one should believe this information. Now it's, hey everyone, you can get better results training twice a week, 1 set than you could training 6 days a week. Oh, I'll sign me up. I want to hire you for my training. And what am I going to do? Oh, I'm going to say that Coach Greg doesn't know what he's talking about, that he's just an idiot. Really? So if you really look at the research and look, why is he explaining this video in this way? Think, is he trying to make money from this? Is he trying to appeal to the lazy people of the world that don't want to do cardio and think they're going to optimize their training by training only 2 days a week? And no, I'm not saying that you have to train more than that. Of course, you can get gains from training twice a week, but it's certainly not optimal for an advanced level trainer.
Well, I'm sure Greg does have experience. So do I. Sure, Greg's an IFBB pro, but I'm a published fitness model.
And so, yeah, Greg's an IFBB pro, but I'm a published fitness model. What's next? You gonna claim you're natural too?
So if you want to use those as legitimate reasons for why you are correct and everyone else is wrong, well, I've got the same credentials.
And I've got the same credentials. Really, you have a master's in kinesiology, highest GPA. You've taught school for over 10 years. You've got over 2,000 YouTube videos. Oh, I'm just as qualified as Coach Greg. Really?
Here, Greg shows a pretty meaningless, arbitrary chart on point of diminishing returns when you start to get to a certain point in volume or number of sets.
And so who knows where this research has come from? Well, there is certainly a lot of research to say somewhere between 10 and 20 sets per body part per week is optimal for muscle hypertrophy. He's saying just need one set, perhaps twice a week. Is that optimal? I certainly don't think that his cherry-picked information from the 1930s, 1950s is going to supersede the information that I've been presenting, Jeff Nippard, Mike Israetel, and a host of other YouTubers. And so you can't just show footage of other trainers who are not going to failure and saying, well, yeah, if you only train that hard, but if you train to failure and beyond, one set. Why don't you watch how I train? Why didn't you show a video of me performing a set of leg press? You really want to see someone train hard? Watch me train. You want to see me do a set of HIIT cardio? Watch me sprint on a bike. And so do you think I could just do one sprint on my bike and develop massive quads? Is one hard set all I need? I mean, I'm literally training to failure. I can barely turn the pedals over. I train beyond what you would think is hard. Harder than almost anyone. And I still know I need more than one set if I want optimal muscle growth. Are you kidding me? You think that guy trains harder than me just because he's doing it slow? And then a guy pulls it down? That's so hard? Try doing 10 reps past failure. Try doing a triple drop set. Are you kidding me? He has no idea how to train, no idea the volume, the intensity that IBB pros use when they're training. Perhaps you should watch Ian Valère train, Chris Bumstead. So many guys are doing way harder workouts than that. And it's not one set, it's multiple times per week. And perhaps if you train that hard, you won't be able to do 5 sets to failure in that sense. But guess what? That's why Mike Israetel and others say you don't need to train to failure and beyond. Perhaps 1 to 3 reps from failure, that's all you need. You need to accumulate enough cumulative fatigue, enough volume with the proper intensity to then maximize muscle hypertrophy. But hey, I guess we're all wrong. Mike Israetel, a PhD, Jeff Nippard, does a lot of research. Myself, I certainly think I know what I'm talking about. I've done a ton of research. I'm not just making things up, saying what people want to hear rather than what they need to hear. The truth is, most people don't train hard enough. I watch them work out and I'm thinking, if they would only push harder, they would get greater gains. But you can't sit here and say one set to failure is all anyone ever needs, no matter who you are or what level of training that you're at.
And they also don't understand what it means to actually train to true momentary muscle failure rather than just giving up when the set gets hard.
Yeah, I have no idea what training at failure actually looks like. I just give up when I get close to the end. I just have no work ethic. I don't train hard. I train like a cookbook. Really? I'd love to see him try to keep up with Coach Greg in a bike race, see what training hard looks like. Or try to copy how hard I push myself on nearly every single set I do in the gym. And it's more than just one set. And so if you've ever seen me train in the gym, has anyone ever watched me go to the gym? Comment below. I've seen thousands of people watch me work out. Has anyone seen me not train past failure during any workout in my life? And so I guess I'm wrong. He debunked me. Myself, Jeff Nippard, Mike Israetel, all of us, we're clueless. We have no idea how to train. And so this guy who also says you shouldn't do cardio because it's going to take years off your life, that perhaps you'll die at 57 if you run marathons, I think we should all listen to him. He clearly knows more than all of us. And so comment below. Do you agree with him? Do you agree with me? Who makes more sense? Hopefully you enjoyed the video. Subscribe, click the bell button, comment for the algorithm. Remember to use code GREG, 10% off for the cookbook, training book, circle diet book. That's right, I've written books. This guy, he's a published author and he was a model. Wow, he knows everything. Also, harder than last time supplements, you can get 10% off, code GREG. Click the link in the description. Visit htltsubs.com. Watch the 2 bloops. And until next time, I am out.